Hey everyone, Dr. Curious here, and today we're diving into a cosmic thought experiment. What would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? I mean, picture it, our planet, the very ground beneath our feet, ceasing its ceaseless rotation. It sounds like something out of science fiction, but the implications are more mind-blowing than you might think. From catastrophic tsunamis to hurricane-force winds that make the strongest storms look like a gentle breeze, the consequences would be nothing short of apocalyptic. So buckle up as we explore the wild world of a stationary Earth. Let's start with the basics. You see, Earth is spinning pretty fast, about 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. Now, we don't feel it because we're all moving along with it. But if the Earth were to suddenly stop, well, everything not bolted down would keep going at 1,000 miles per hour. Buildings, cars, people, you name it. Everything would be launched eastward like projectiles in a cosmic game of pinball. It would be chaos on a global scale. Imagine the sheer force of buildings being ripped from their foundations, trees uprooted like twigs, and entire cities reduced to rubble. And it wouldn't just be the initial impact. The shockwaves from this sudden deceleration would ripple across the planet, triggering earthquakes and volcanic eruptions on a scale never before witnessed. And if you thought things couldn't get any worse, picture this: the oceans. They wouldn't just stop with the Earth. The inertia of all that water would send colossal tsunamis surging across continents, wiping out coastlines and everything in their path. It wouldn't be a pretty sight, to say the least. The sheer scale of destruction is almost unimaginable. But we're just getting started. Now let's talk about those tsunamis. We're not talking about your average coastal flood here. These would be waves of unimaginable size, dwarfing anything in recorded history. Imagine walls of water, hundreds of feet high, crashing inland, swallowing entire cities in an instant. The devastation wouldn't be limited to coastal regions either. These mega tsunamis would penetrate deep into continents, reshaping the landscape as we know it. And if you thought surviving the initial impact was bad enough, imagine being caught in the relentless surge of these watery behemoths. But the horror doesn't end there. The oceans wouldn't just settle down after the initial wave. The sudden stop would disrupt the delicate balance of our planet's water systems, causing chaotic and unpredictable currents. Coastal areas would be completely uninhabitable, and the world's oceans would be in a state of perpetual turmoil. Okay, so we've got flying objects and mega tsunamis, but what about the air we breathe? Surely that wouldn't be affected, right? Wrong. You see, the atmosphere is also spinning along with the Earth, and just like the oceans, if the Earth stopped, the atmosphere wouldn't. Imagine winds of unimaginable force, hundreds of miles per hour, sweeping across the planet. These wouldn't be your average hurricanes. We're talking about hyper-hurricanes, capable of leveling mountains and turning cities into dust devils. The friction caused by these supersonic winds would generate intense heat, sparking wildfires that would rage across continents. The skies would be choked with smoke and debris, turning day into a night of ash and embers. And as if things couldn't get any worse, these winds would also carry away the Earth's atmosphere, slowly stripping our planet of the very air we breathe. Now let's talk about something a little less obvious: the shape of the Earth itself. You see, Earth isn't perfectly spherical, it bulges slightly at the equator due to the centrifugal force of its rotation. But if the Earth were to stop spinning, that bulge would disappear. The planet would gradually reshape itself, becoming more perfectly spherical. Now this might not sound so bad, but the consequences would be dramatic. The oceans, no longer held outward by centrifugal force, would rush towards the poles, flooding vast areas of land. Meanwhile, the equatorial regions would experience a dramatic drop in sea level, exposing new landmasses but also leading to widespread drought. The Earth wouldn't just look different, it would be a completely different planet. Now let's delve into something even more fundamental: Earth's magnetic field. This invisible shield protects us from harmful solar radiation, making life on Earth possible. But guess what? Earth's rotation plays a crucial role in generating and maintaining this magnetic field. If the Earth were to stop spinning, the magnetic field would weaken significantly, if not disappear entirely. Without this protective shield, we'd be bombarded by deadly cosmic rays and solar flares. Imagine the northern lights or aurora borealis. But instead of a beautiful light show, it's a constant, deadly bombardment of radiation. Cancer rates would skyrocket, electronic devices would malfunction, and life on Earth would become a very risky proposition. Now, let's talk about day and night. With Earth's rotation gone, one hemisphere would face the sun permanently, while the other would be plunged into eternal darkness. Imagine the scorching heat on one side and the freezing cold on the other. Talk about extreme temperature differences. Life as we know it depends on the cycle of day and night. Plants need sunlight for photosynthesis, and animals have adapted to specific light and temperature cycles. This drastic change would disrupt ecosystems on a global scale, leading to mass extinctions. And for humans, well, let's just say surviving in a world of perpetual day or night would present some serious challenges. Now let's zoom out a bit and consider the moon's influence on Earth. You see, the moon's gravitational pull is what causes tides. But it's not just about the oceans. The moon also has a subtle but significant gravitational effect on Earth itself. If the Earth were to stop spinning, this gravitational tug-of-war would have some interesting consequences. The moon wouldn't just disappear, but its gravitational influence would become much more pronounced. Tides wouldn't be the only thing affected. The Earth's crust itself would experience greater stress, potentially leading to increased volcanic activity and earthquakes. It's a reminder that even in the vastness of space, everything is connected. Now, so far we've been talking about a sudden stop, but what if Earth's rotation were to slow down gradually over millions of years? Would the consequences be as catastrophic? Well, the good news is that a gradual slowdown would give life on Earth time to adapt. Days and nights would become longer, leading to more extreme temperature differences between day and night. Weather patterns would shift, and the planet's climate would undergo significant changes. But life is resilient, and organisms would find ways to adapt to these new conditions. New species would emerge, while others would go extinct. It would be a slow, drawn-out process of evolution, but life would find a way. Now let's talk about gravity for a moment. You see, Earth's rotation affects gravity, albeit in a very subtle way. The centrifugal force generated by the rotation slightly counteracts the force of gravity, making objects at the equator weigh slightly less than they do at the poles. But if Earth were to stop spinning, this centrifugal force would disappear. Objects at the equator would suddenly feel a bit heavier, while objects at the poles would feel a bit lighter. It wouldn't be a massive difference, but it would be noticeable. And for scientists and engineers, it would mean recalibrating all sorts of instruments and calculations that rely on precise measurements of gravity. Now let's zoom back out into space and talk about satellites. These artificial objects orbit Earth at incredibly high speeds, relying on Earth's gravity and rotation to maintain their orbits. But if Earth were to stop spinning, it would throw a cosmic wrench into the works. Satellites would no longer be in sync with Earth's rotation, and their orbits would be thrown into chaos. Some satellites might crash back to Earth, while others might be flung out into space altogether. This would disrupt all sorts of technologies we rely on, from GPS navigation to communication networks. It would be like the internet going down, but on a global scale. Now let's talk about the big picture, the impact on life as we know it. We've already touched on some of the consequences, but the reality is that a stationary Earth would be catastrophic for most life forms. The extreme temperatures, lack of day-night cycles, and increased radiation would create a hostile environment for most plants and animals. Food chains would collapse, ecosystems would unravel, and mass extinctions would be inevitable. It's a sobering thought that something as fundamental as Earth's rotation is so crucial for the delicate balance of life on our planet. Now let's talk about the human cost of this hypothetical scenario. The catastrophic events we've discussed would obviously result in unimaginable loss of life. But even for those who manage to survive the initial chaos, the challenges would be insurmountable. The lack of food, water, and shelter, coupled with extreme weather conditions and increased radiation, would make survival a daily struggle. Civilization as we know it would collapse, and humanity would be thrust back into a primitive struggle for survival. It's a stark reminder of how fragile our existence is, and how much we depend on the delicate balance of our planet. Now let's consider a slightly different scenario. What if Earth stopped rotating but continued to orbit the Sun? In this case, we wouldn't have to worry about the initial catastrophic effects of a sudden stop. However, the long-term consequences would be just as dire. One hemisphere would experience 6 months of continuous daylight while the other would be plunged into 6 months of darkness. The temperature differences between the two hemispheres would be extreme, making life challenging, if not impossible, in most regions. It's a reminder that Earth's rotation is not just about day and night, it's about maintaining a habitable environment for life as we know it. Now you might be wondering, could this ever really happen? Could Earth actually stop spinning? The good news is that it's highly unlikely. Earth's rotation is the result of billions of years of cosmic evolution, and it's not something that's easily stopped. However, there are forces at play that are gradually slowing down Earth's rotation. The Moon's gravitational pull, for example, is gradually slowing Earth's spin, but this process is happening over millions of years. So while Earth's rotation is not constant, a sudden stop is highly improbable. It would likely take a catastrophic collision with a massive celestial object to bring Earth's rotation to a halt. And in that case, the cessation of rotation would be the least of our worries. So, there you have it, a glimpse into the chaotic and catastrophic consequences of a world without Earth's spin. While the scenario we've explored is highly unlikely, it serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance that makes life on Earth possible. It's easy to take our planet's rotation for granted, but it's one of those fundamental forces that shapes everything from our weather patterns to the very existence of our magnetic field. So, next time you look up at the night sky, take a moment to appreciate the incredible cosmic dance that keeps our planet spinning and life as we know it thriving. Keep those questions coming and keep exploring the universe.